And when we're not hustling, we believe that seeing sex workers as full people outside of our work is an essential step toward humanizing and destigmatizing the industry and those who work within it. Help us to bring you the stories of the people behind the fantasies. When We're Not Hustling is a 501c3 fiscally sponsored nonprofit project of the Social Good Fund. Thank you for considering a tax-deductible recurring contribution. All contributions will be received through our fiscal sponsor, the Social Good Fund. You can contribute at nothustling.com.
Put away the lingerie. I wanna know you. Tell me more. I don't care about the hear about you and see the world from your point of view. The coffee's already made, so I'll part the shades, just pull up a chair and tell me more.
Welcome to When We're Not Hustling, a podcast where sex workers talk about everything but. I'm your host, Jessie Sage. When We're Not Hustling is a weekly podcast that explores the lives and identities of sex workers outside of our work personas, our personal philosophies, ambitions, families, relationships, passions, spirituality, and so much more. We talk about our lives beyond the job, asking, what does the flexibility of sex work allow us to do, and who does it allow us to be? On our show, we learn who sex workers are outside of the work we're known for. When We're Not Hustling is an exploration of the people behind the fantasies. When We're Not Hustling is brought to you by Assembly 4. Assembly 4 is a collective of sex workers and technologists working to bring the overall cost of sex work down through their advertising platform Tryst.link. They also educate clients through the Good Client Guide and provide resources and articles written by and for sex workers. Assembly 4 caters to all genders and demographics and raises funds to fight for sex worker rights and against exploitation in the industry. Learn more about Assembly 4 at assemblyfour.com. Hello, this is Jessie Sage. Welcome back to another episode of When We're Not Hustling. We are now in mid-February, so I hope everyone is staying as warm as possible. Pittsburgh has been crazy cold, and we have had so much snow, and I am so ready for spring. And it's only February, but we'll get through it. I am excited because today we're talking to Steph Sia, and usually I always just call her Sia, but Sia is a podcast host herself. She has a great show that has been running for a long time called Stripped by Sia, and I've been on there a couple times talking about a variety of different things, and also I have visited her in her home city, Vancouver, BC. I didn't go there to visit her. I went there for a writing retreat, but I was lucky enough to be able to get to see her in person there. But that was several years ago, so it was great to chat with her again. She wears so many hats. She is a stripper, she's a pole dance instructor, she is a podcaster, she does online content creation, and she also hosts a YouTube channel called Slurped by Sia, and in that she reviews noodles. And so I thought it would be fun to talk to her about everything noodles. So we talk about noodles and food and travel and sex, actually, is what we ended up talking about. So it's a fun interview. I think you will enjoy her and enjoy the conversation. So I'm going to just go ahead and introduce her. Steph Sia is a content creator, podcaster, dancer, and multidisciplinary artist based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. She's been in the adult space since 2013, starting out with in-person companionship, dancing professionally across clubs in Vancouver, fetish work, and most recently branching off into online work via paid subscription sites, camming, and sexting. And she talks about all of that in this episode. Steph Sia shares a love of dancing and movement, which led her to naturally gravitate toward a career in the strip industry. So let's go ahead and turn to our interview. Hi, Steph. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yay. So I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long time since we connected. I think the last time I saw you, you were in my city, which was really fun.
It was really fun. And when was that? Like 2020?
Something like it was a long time
It was
ago.
after
Maybe
COVID. Maybe it was 2021.
Ago. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It has been. How have you been?
I've been good. Just been hustling, as you know, but also doing other things. So I'm actually about to leave for Hawaii today, right after this. So
what part of Hawaii are you going to?
We're going to the island of Kauai, so the jungle, like big mountains, hiking, all that stuff. So I'm like,
is that what you're going for? Just for fun?
My husband gifted me for Christmas a little getaway. So we're like, we need some sunshine, we need to get out of this rain, and we need beach time and like sun and poke and all the good things.
How nice.
Excited.
Yeah. My son lives in Hawaii, but he lives in Maui.
Oh my gosh. Well, not a bad place to be. How do I not know this? This is crazy.
Yeah, he moved there. So he's 19 and he moved there like almost 2 years ago when his dad got a job out there. And so
there you go.
He was almost done with high school. And I was like, don't you want to stay here and finish? And he's like, it's Maui. And I was like, oh, okay. So I haven't been there to visit him yet because every time we want to visit, like he wants to come here because all of his friends are here. And it's just like, so he'll come and see me like 4 times a year. But one of these days I'm going to get out there.
Yes, you
will. Yeah. And he sends me these wild pictures and videos. I'm like, you live in this place?
Right? You're going to make it happen. Maybe this year. Maybe this year.
Yeah. Yeah. But it looks amazing.
Yeah, I haven't been to Maui myself, but I've only seen pictures. My husband like loves that island so much. But we're like, no, let's go to an island we both haven't been to and just explore and just have a brand new experience. So
yeah, that's excited. Cool. You guys seem to travel a lot.
We do travel a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's been in my blood for a while. Like my mom is a big traveler. My dad's a big traveler as well. And for those of you who don't know, I actually work part-time at a major hotel company to enable myself to get the discounts.
I remember that from when I saw you. Do you still do that?
Yeah, I still do that. And it's like super part-time, which is really nice. So, but yeah, we're staying in Hawaii for like 5 days for like $700, which is
oh my god,
nothing. So cannot complain.
No, that's amazing. How long have you been working for the hotel?
Oh gosh, I've been there for it'll be 12 years this year.
Wow.
I had to think about that.
Every time I talk to you, I feel like a slouch because you have so many jobs. Like, list off your jobs. I want to hear what's going on.
Oh my God. It's so crazy. Okay. So, well, you know about the hotel. So that's one thing. I'm a server at a hotel. So that's kind of okay. I do that. Obviously, I teach dance. So I'm a big pole dancer in my community. Mm-hmm. So I'm a pole dance instructor. I also am a marketing consultant for a sexual health educator. So I manage all the online things, digital email campaigns, and social media. What else do I do? I am a stripper.
Know about that.
Now you know. That's like my quote unquote civvy vanilla job that like keeps my brain like sharp with things. So I do that. I'm still kind of dancing as a stripper. Yes. Yeah. I want to say that's probably going to be done this year though. I'm just kind of still in the loop for like private parties and stuff. So, but I haven't really danced actively in about like 6 months. So I think that's going to be done soon. What else do I do? My podcast is one of them. My YouTube channel on Noodles is another one of them. They're both monetized. I'm also on OnlyFans, Sex Panther, Streamate, so cam model, adult content creator, all the things, and guest lecturer that now gets paid. So that's really nice.
That is nice. What lectures have you done?
I usually guest lecture at Simon Fraser University. So that's where I graduated. And also Florida State University too. A fan of the podcast listens to it who's also a professor there. So she always tries to get me to, guest lecture in her classes, which is a lot of fun. So
yeah, I've done a lot of that. And I always think that's fun.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. It's just like getting access to all these young students and the young minds. And for them, a lot of them have not had their minds opened or, have kind of deer in headlights sometimes with things, which is really endearing. But it's really nice to just being able to get in touch with the thinkers of today and into the future, which is kind of cool. So
I find that there's like two camps of them. One of young college students now, one are Gen Z. They are super open and have no problem with sex work and can't understand why there's ever been a problem with sex work.
Yes.
Or there's a smaller contingent, it seems to me, of very sheltered people who are like, oh my gosh. And kind of coming from this like religious background who are like, no. It's like, it feels like it's either side. There's people who are just like, that's terrible and an abomination. And then there's people who are like, I don't understand what the problem is.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I can kind of tell like what camp they're in with the questions they ask. Cause with the people that are kind of sheltered, it's always the same stereotypical questions. Like, does your family know what's dating like? Like it's the same questions. And then when you have these open-minded thinkers that are just like okay with it and just open about it, they have so much more thought-provoking questions and just like, really
questions about like labor and intimacy I've found that I think is really interesting. Yeah,
I really enjoy those questions too. Because I was like, oh my gosh, like every crop of students, every semester that I encounter, they're all very different and individual, which is really kind of cool. So
so plug your podcast real quick. What's your podcast?
Oh, yes. I'm the host of Stripped by Sia. It's your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people. And it's all about destigmatizing the sex industry. And I do that through education and humanizing sex workers by bringing different guests onto the show every single week to share their corner in the industry.
And it's been going on for a long time, huh?
Yeah, we're going into technically year 6, which is wild to me. And I still can't believe it. People are still really interested and engaged in it. So I'm very, very happy with that.
That's nice. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about your noodle channel. You said you have a noodle channel.
Yes. I do have a noodle channel on YouTube. It's called Sia Slurps and it is completely PG. Yeah. Super cute. A friend of mine had the idea for the name on it and like he's like, oh, noodles, new. It's like kind of like a play on words because you are a spicy creator.
Yeah,
but it's completely PG.
Think about that. Yeah.
But I have gotten some fans from my YouTube channel over into like my OnlyFans and stuff.
Have you?
Yeah. So it's kind of fun to have those worlds collide a bit. But like, it's completely PG. It's all about noodles. So I rate instant noodles from all around the world, which is like hilarious.
So what do you do on the channel?
Yeah. So it started off back in 2020 and it was just with the motivation to 1, teach myself how to video edit, 2, put myself out there because I always wanted to do a YouTube channel, and 3, profess my love of instant noodles to the world. So
instant noodles?
Instant noodles.
That's specific. Okay.
Very specific, very niche. But as you all know, niches definitely work and there are a lot of people like me out there. So that's kind of what it started off with. And then I kind of branched off into doing ramen hacks on Wednesday and like Fresh Noodle Fridays, which was like a different noodle dish I'd prepare from scratch. But I don't have time for that anymore.
Multiple days a week?
There were at a time for like 2 years. And then I'm like, I don't have time for this. And most of the hits are for the instant noodle reviews anyways. So I'm like, I'm just going to go back to that. Yes, I'm telling you, it's a thing. It's real.
So you do instant noodle reviews. That means like there's enough different kinds of instant noodles to like review them?
Oh my gosh, it is wild. Like, and that's kind of what I chose it. Like, I'm already like a noodle nerd as is, but like there are so many noodles and it's like super sustainable in the fact that I will never run out of things to review because there's just too many out there. Mm-hmm. And I've made like a good dent over the past like 4 years, 5 years almost.
So what do you do? Do you like take a certain kind and make it and then talk about it?
Yeah, literally, we'll follow the directions, prepare the noodles as the directions and the packages say, and then I will review it based on like quality in terms of like the noodle texture, the broth, what comes included with like flakes and stuff, and ease and convenience, and also just uniqueness. So those are kind of like the 5 areas that I review it on.
So is an instant noodle like ramen that you like buy in the package? What else is it like instant noodle? What else counts in this category?
Totally. Yeah. So everything that comes in a package or in one of those like cup noodle kind of bowls. Yeah. So I know when people think like instant ramen, they think like, oh my gosh, you're just thinking about Maruchan, or if you're in Canada, like Mr. Noodles, which are just awful. I'm sorry. They're just, they're so, when you think broke college student, you think those that are like 20 cents. But they've come a long way. So there's like different kinds now. It's not just your soup noodles, but there's dry noodles. There's like different like carbonara flavor and like cheese curry, tom yum, like just like lots of really, really interesting, cool flavors out there. And depends on regionality as well. Cause some things I have to like go to Asia for because they're only available in that market versus like North America. Yeah. So it's kind of like a fun little treasure hunt sometimes. And
because then you incorporate your travel into that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. So it's like, guys, I just came back from Korea, or guys, I just came back from Japan, or look what I found in Mexico. They have Mexican style instant noodles here, and they seem pretty invested in it. So I'm just like,
that's cool.
It's kind of fun. It's totally nerdy, which I love.
It's so specific, and I think that there's something so interesting about that if you like. Sometimes I think we try to be like all things to all people, but actually there's a lot of value in just like honing in on one thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's kind of like when I stuck with it for so long. And honestly, it's just like kind of fun to do. And I obviously still really much enjoy it. And like tasting them and rating them like 0 out of 5 is also a lot of fun too. Just as fun as like the 5 out of 5 ones.
Do you have companies? Will they like send you stuff?
I did have a company reach out to me, but it kind of fell through. So I'm sad about that. So, but not quite there yet, although I am monetized, but I would love to like, have a company like send me a whole package and stuff too. If anyone's listening.
Like you're monetized through YouTube?
Yeah. Through YouTube. Yeah. So labor of love, I suppose.
You have a lot of views to do that, don't you?
You do. Yeah. You have to have like 4,000, 4,000 watch minutes or something like that. And you have to have like 1,000 minimum subscribers. So it's not too inaccessible. It's still doable, but like, I mean, whatever YouTube pays me is enough to cover my like new packages of instant noodles. So that's fine. Goes back into the business.
Yeah. I think that everything is like related though too, especially in our industry, because sometimes I'll get down on myself about the podcast and be like, I'm making enough money from it to pay my producer, but I don't make any money from it. But then I'm like, but I do in so many other ways, like because I have met clients who listen to the show and want to meet me, or, there's just different ways that these things end up being useful for us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, going back to like my show too, it's the same thing too. It's like a labor of love. It's something like I give out for free. I don't gatekeep or anything like that, but like it's provided me with so many opportunities that I can even imagine myself like 5-6 years ago that I would be like in this kind of place. So it's been, as you would say, pays you in different ways for sure that have been rewarding.
Yeah. And I've also found that like the people who come to me through the show, like clients who come to me through the show, are often like very invested in ways that are like really nice.
I love that though. Like, even the clients that have come to me, I mean, through like sex work and stuff like that too. They're like a different breed of people. I don't know. Like, like I feel like with the podcast, we produce such high quality content that really makes you think. It's not just surface level conversations that like it attracts a certain audience. It attracts a certain kind of person, different kind of clientele that would be really into this, and also like, would want to meet us too. It's happened, so.
There's that.
It's kind of fun.
It is. So what have you what's been your favorite part about doing the noodle show?
I mean, eating it is okay. Is a great reward, but also just like meeting the fans too. Cause like I literally have like weekly, listeners, I guess. Viewers that would tune in every week and be like, oh my God, I need to get this right away. Or like, have you done this one yet? Can you review this one? Cause I need to have your opinion on it. I need to have your expertise to see if it's worth it or not. So that's been a lot of fun. And I don't know, just like, it's just a kind of like a running joke now. Like people just know what to get me for Christmas. Like, here's some noodles for your birthday and for all future gifts. It makes it really easy. So.
Yeah, it was funny. On season 1 of this show, we had on Ramona Flower, and I know, I love her. She's amazing. Great. And she talked about clowns. She collects clowns and
clowns.
Yeah.
I'll have to tune back to that episode.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like it's not that I didn't expect it to be interesting, but like I had no idea what we were going to talk about. Like I was like, okay, clowns. All right. Like I don't know anything about clowns. And it turned out that we could have a conversation about like tons of different things. Like we even talked about like autistic masking and like what masks are and what clown, and it was really, really, and femme presentation and all kinds of things. And so, but that's beside the point. The main point is that she collects them, but that means that not only does she go on like all these scavenger hunts, like you're talking about, like now I'm in a new place, now I can look at this place through the lens of like what noodles are here, but she does that where she's like always on a treasure hunt for clowns and little clown dolls and clown art and clown stuff, and that she's found that her fans and friends are now like also on this search. And so she'll get people buying her clowns just because they see it. And so it's turned into this community thing. And that's so neat.
I think it's fun. And it's like really cool, especially, you mentioned like fans, like once your fans like learn about this, when you're able to share that part of your personality with them and they totally like jump on the bandwagon with you. Like it's like, oh my God, thank you for the gift. Always welcome. Noodles are always welcome, guys.
That's so fun. Yeah. I don't get noodles, but I get a lot of books from clients and I love that. And I like to read, and that's like one of my favorite presents that they give me. And often, like I made a joke on Twitter one time that was like, put your envelope in a book, and so now a lot of people are just like trained to do that. Like they bring me a book and it's like,
I love that. That's so, that's so cute.
It is cute and it's fun. So it's fun to have people like think of something associated with you, because then they'll bring it. I remember my former father-in-law, though, he was really into roosters. And so he had like a wall in his house that was like a bunch of pictures of roosters, different kinds.
Yes.
And then at some point, because he was so associated with that, and we always got him like rooster stuff. One year I remember him saying, okay, I'm done. No more roosters.
It's like, I'm good. We have enough now.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, damn. Now you have to think of something else.
I know, because sometimes it's just so easy. You're like, oh, I already know what to get you. Like, it's just like clockwork, right?
Yeah, like, right. Yeah, you like noodles. So we'll get Sia noodles. Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
How do you work all of these things together? Like, what is I remember you told me about your day one time and I was like, oh my goodness. Is it less crazy now?
It's less crazy now. I want to say it's a bit more organized, and that's actually one of my like resolutions this year is to try to really stick to my schedule and really try to time manage a bit better. So like right now it's looking a lot more free in a different kind of sense. But like, I guess waking up, getting ready, either I'm going to do a stream right away or I go to the hotel to work for a bit. Then I'll do like a lunchtime or something, or cook lunch, afternoon stream. and then I'll do like a workout, and then I spend time with my partner. So it's really, and like the other downtime. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that kind of stuff. If it's anything to do with like work or admin or podcasts or anything like that, that would also kind of squish into the afternoon, or like late morning and stuff like that. So I really try to keep my work day still like within traditional work hours, because that's like a good, I guess like a good boundary for myself in terms of like ensuring that I do not burn myself out, which I'm so used to doing, and just getting so exhausted and overwhelmed, and really just trying to be a bit more like intentional about not doing that to myself, and taking more breaks, and allowing myself to, just relax.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I like what you're saying, because this is something that I'm really working on this year too, is coming up with like a schedule that I stick to, because with the kind of work that we do, the hard part about it, I don't know, I liken it to being a student. It's like when you're a student, there's never something that you can't be doing. And so it's like always hanging over your head. You don't like go to work and then come home and hang out. And I feel like our lives are like that too, because there's always something we could be doing.
I know.
And it does seem really important to not burn yourself out, to have boundaries around that, where you actually like schedule time to just relax or hang out or watch the shows you want to watch, or hang out with your partner, or do other things.
Whatever. Yeah. It's so important, because like, I don't know, like I was talking about this on an episode on like my podcast, talking about like, there's always that dangling of the carrot of like, oh, you could be making more money. Like you can be doing more, you can be hustling more, just a little bit more. And it's just like one more client, one more fan, one more show. It can be really exhausting. And then then it cuts into your other time for yourself to just, relax and just replenish. And and like, of course, like now that, I'm married and stuff too. And even like before I was married, just trying to make time to spend with my partner. Like that was something that was never in my previous life before, like pre-COVID. It was just like work. I would literally have had time at like 10 o'clock at night to hang out with him. And like, that I'm like, oh, no wonder I was single. It's because I never actually made time to nourish a relationship.
Yeah. He must have been very patient. He must have liked you a lot. To be like, I will wait until 10 o'clock and then I will see her.
He did. Yeah. I was really surprised at that. And like, yes. And that's something I've learned a lot from him, actually, is just that patience, the slowing down, it's okay to relax. He's totally like relaxing all the time. And it's so like, I'm jealous sometimes, but like right now I'm trying to like take the guilt out of not being productive, or like, I need to just lay on the couch and just like binge watch some like crappy show, because I owe it to myself. But it's taking the guilt out is hard.
Yeah, there's value in that though. So I need to do that. And so I've been trying to think of like I've been working on like, what does my day look like? Because I do want to at some point clock out, in this metaphorical way, and not be working and not be thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, and I'm so glad, like, this is like, I'm pretty sure that chapter with stripping and like being at the club, like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be done soon. I just haven't like told my agent, but I'm just like, well, she's not booking me anyways, so it's whatever. But just like not having to, one, put on a ton of makeup for the stage is really nice. And also just not having to stay up super late and get much more sleep has been so much more healthy, and not to mention the toxic things that we have to deal with our agent, at least here in the West Coast, at least. So it's tricky.
Yeah, so I don't think we have that in the United States in the same way in strip clubs.
No, it's like very special here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically in Vancouver.
Okay,
only in Vancouver.
Talk about that. Why do you have an agent?
What does that look like?
What does that look like?
Yes. So I am a feature dancer. So being a feature dancer means you get paid to be on stage. You get
right.
paid
So
for
you don't
your
pay
shows.
you don't pay fees and stuff.
You don't pay fees or anything like that. So you're represented by an agency. Otherwise, yes, it would be similar to like everywhere else in the world. You would go to the club and pay your drop-in fee. And then you pay to be there basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, but because we have an agent here, the agent is like, well, I'll send you to all these clubs around the province of British Columbia, which is where Vancouver is situated. And it's called the circuit. So she sends you out to different places and stuff. But, and each place is different and got their own, they've got their own personality with the clubs and stuff like that too. But the problem is with that, like I love being a feature dancer and being able to create really cool, mesmerizing shows and stuff. But then it's just that blurring of the lines that happens between, am I an employee of the club? No, we are considered as like independent contractors. And I guess for you guys, like 1099 or something like that, or whatever it's called. Yeah. So basically, it's just a lot of those blurring of the lines, like them dictating, oh, you have to be at the club at 8:00. I'm like, okay, but my show's at 10:40. I have to be at the club. Why?
Right.
Because you want you to sell dances right away. I'm like, to who? There's nobody there. So it's a lot of that kind of like blurring of the lines, which I really don't like. And then the weird expectation that like, or just the way that she talks to us, I don't really like. That's kind of toxic to me. And I think it's just kind of unique here in Vancouver, where it's just like, it's basically a free-for-all in our group chat. Like, oh, this is what's up for grabs. Like, she'll first go through the roster of girls and like, specific clubs might ask for specific girls, or they have their regulars.
Yeah.
And then, and then they would send the weekly feature dancers, so they would make up a roster for that. And then if there's any holes missing in those schedules, then it would be the free-for-all in the text, like this is up for grabs. And I'm just like, what happens if I'm away from my phone, or I'm like on a flight, or like in the bathroom or something? Like
you're out.
Like because I've like literally lost out on things with that, like lost out in bookings or stuff like that. And then she'd be like, does nobody want work right now? It's hard to believe that 300 girls don't want work. So it's not great and not healthy.
Yeah. So are you excited to kind of close that chapter?
Yeah, I've been like quietly closing it for like the past, like in 2024. Like I've been like kind of like closing that and just like shifting a lot of my work online. So that's been a lot more fun and just more balanced for myself, which is kind of like what I need right now. So,
So do you like doing cam shows?
I do love doing cam shows, actually.
I say that as somebody who does not like camming. I'm like, do you really like it?
I do. It's like, it kind of gives me a similar thrill to what it's like being on stage. Of course, not the same thing as being in person.
Yeah.
But just like the audience engagement and just like the banter, the back and forth, like I love that kind of stuff. And just, I'm always on all the time too, which is kind of fun. But now I can take more breaks. I feel it's like, I don't have to like leave my house, which is really, really great. And I can, kick out people that I don't like and kind of like steer the wheel a bit more, which I'm really enjoying. So
that's nice. Yeah. So what platforms do you cam on?
I am exclusively on Streamate right now. I might be looking to go on other platforms too, but I'm enjoying it there right now. And that's kind of like where I got started. Well, no, that's a lie. It's like kind of where I really kind of dug my feet into camming, and that's been like 3 years ago now. So so I still feel like a baby, but like I've been having fun kind of just experimenting and just like dipping my toes and
I worked for Streammate too. I used to stream there. Not a lot, but I did. And what I liked about Streammate more than some of the other platforms like Chatterbait is that it pushes privates much more. And so you can have a lot of one-on-ones. What I don't like about it is that they take so much money.
They take so much. I just I feel bad for the fans that are on there.
When We're Not Hustling is powered by Black Venom Digital. Black Venom Digital is a collaboration between myself and industry veteran Mr. Black Venom. Black Venom Digital aims to provide adult professionals and entrepreneurs with professional-grade web design, graphic design, and branding services that will inspire growth and success. At Black Venom Digital, we empower companions, creators, and entertainers with professional web design and branding. If you're looking for a new website or any other branding services and you work in the adult industry, please find out more at blackvenomdigital.com. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to your podcast. Doing so will help others find us. And if you're a sex worker who wants to come on the show and talk about your life outside of work, we would love to have you. Please send us an email with more information to nothustlingpod@proton.me. I know, because they're paying so. I don't even know if I don't think they know that.
No, I don't think so. Because they're like, oh, can I just pay this many tokens for this? And I'm just like, well, it's not really going to reach me that far. Yeah. It's like, I have to take things off the platform. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like that model more of being able to just like hang out until I imagine it kind of feels like a strip club where you're like hanging out and then you take one guy back.
Yeah, that's exactly how I resonate with it as well. Like the exclusive or like your one-on-one, the privates are like a group show that everyone's paying into. And then you could do photo shows. Like it's just a lot of fun and something that I really enjoy. And like I was on MFC before, but I didn't really enjoy the token system, which is unfortunately like the majority of platforms that are out there. So like the conversion rate and everything is just not great, but
and it's also it feels opaque. It's like you have to do so much math to figure out like, wait, how much money are you even making from this? And I don't know. I found that to be odd, that system.
No, me too. I felt like it was a lot of mathing and I don't like math. So I'm like, this isn't going to work out for me.
It did feel like that. I was like, what is that? I don't know. And then people are like throwing tokens at you. And I'm like, I don't know what the tokens are for. So I don't know.
We all got to start somewhere. I think it's like a 5 cents a token or something, at least for Canadian dollar it is. But like it's.
Yeah. Because you also then have like that next level of like conversion.
Which is not great right now. It's like Canadian pesos compared to the American dollar at this rate. Yeah, so that's not too fun, but it's fun on StreamMate though. I do like it.
That's good. That's good. So do you can every day?
I'm still also trying to stick to like a Monday to Friday schedule with that. And then I would do maybe like early morning streams on the weekend. So because I was like, nope, I have to get my gym workout in. I don't want to stream in the middle of the day because I'm usually out and doing stuff. Yeah. So I try to hit the early morning crowd for that. If I choose to, I still haven't streamed yet this year on the weekends. So we'll see what that's going to look like. But
it's good to take the weekends off though.
It is. It totally is. And I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know. Like before I used to maybe stream for like 1 or 2 hours. So kind of short and then be on with the rest of my day. Yeah. And that's worked well for me in the past. So let me get back to you on that. I'll let you know how it goes after this weekend. We'll see.
I feel like there's a thing that happens once you get like well enough established in what you're doing. Like, I feel like when I first started 10 years ago in the sex industry and was like camming and doing all of the online stuff and all the platforms, and I worked so much. And now that I've kind of found like a groove, I still work a lot because I have different projects, but like, I don't feel like I work as much as I used to work, which is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's all about like working smarter, not harder. Because I feel like when you start out, you don't know what the hell is going on and you don't know how to operate or navigate any of these platforms and stuff. So it's a lot of like doing things until like you meet someone in the community like, oh, have you considered doing it this way? And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. And I like, honestly, like, I feel like I'm still trying to find my footing too, because I've done sex work in the online capacity at such a part-time kind of capacity. And now trying to kind of push that a bit more forward and have that be the forefront for like that being a goal of mine this year. So it's like really trying to find my footing, and what that looks like can be so different for so many people. And it's been an interesting experience so far.
I think you're smart though, because I think, and I've heard a lot of other like creators say that the best thing to do is to have safe for work content too, so that you have like a place that you're not getting like shadow banned to death, or that you can kind of drive people to all platforms from.
Yeah, that's kind of like my strategy, and just trying to funnel it into all the different links that are available, different platforms. And then right now I'm just trying to look into moving into like the clip route too, because I'm really trying to, my goal for this year is really to try to make more passive income. Because I want to try to maybe consider getting pregnant like later this year. So
that's exciting.
Which is like really exciting, but also like I'm thinking long term too, because I don't know if I will be returning. I don't know, or if I am returning, and what kind of capacity that's going to look like, if I'm going to want to be online or do any of this work anymore.
Right.
I have a feeling I will be, but like,
but it's good to think about that though, like, because you don't know how you're going to feel afterward. I cammed when I was pregnant with my last son, and it was really an interesting experience because, like, I expected it to be a lot of like fetishy sort of people who were into that. And it turned out that, at least for me, and maybe it's because I did it with my partner, it was very sweet and like very wholesome, like in ways that I didn't anticipate, like where people were like, "Oh, you look so beautiful." And they like want to talk to me about being pregnant. And then they're like, a lot of nostalgia from like men who are like done having kids, but who like remember that period of time. Like they would talk about like, "I remember how beautiful my wife looked when she was pregnant."
That's so sweet.
Yeah. And I'll always remember that because I didn't anticipate that. Like I was just like, well, I'm pregnant. I'm just going to keep going because whatever.
Why not?
Because this is what I'm doing. And it ended up being really sweet.
Oh, wow. That's okay. Because I had the same, or I still have the same kind of perspective that as you had, like, oh, it's going to be very fetishy. There's like a whole niche for pregnant people on these sites. So I was like, okay, cool. At least I'll have that. But like, that's really like nice to hear about, because like I love it when I'm in this industry and I am given a reaction or I'm met with a response that is so different that I couldn't have expected that. And it's really refreshing to have that, because I feel like, being in this industry for as long as we've been in the industry, like, I feel like there's like a lot of,
it's hard to surprise us.
Yeah, hard to surprise us. It's sad to say.
It's funny. That's really every once in a while clients will be like, "What's the craziest thing you've ever done?" And I'm like, "I don't even know it's crazy anymore." What do you mean? What do you mean? It's also Tuesday afternoon.
Totally. They're like, "Tell me about the story when." And I'm just like, "Which one do you want to hear?" Let me like scroll my Rolodex here. Like,
well, I think it's hard for people to imagine what our lives are like. And I think that like, I was thinking about this the other day because like, I don't know, people who work in hospitals like they're like inoculated to all of the crazy things they see. And I feel like there's an extent to which like we are too, but like in the sexual realm where I'm just like, like, and it doesn't mean that I'm not interested. It just means that nothing's like shocking,
No, totally. Like in a sense, like I feel like I've been like desensitized in a lot of ways, and like, I think it's desensitized very different than being jaded. Like, I don't think I'm jaded at all in this industry, but like, I don't know. I just like, is this the biggest cock you've seen today? And like, just like, just like stuff like that, or like, tell me like the craziest thing, like what you said too. And I'm just like, well, Let me tell you a story.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just have found that for a lot of people, especially in the online realm, because a lot of the people who come into cam rooms don't necessarily have like a thriving sex life, and want a place to like explore all the things that they're thinking about that they haven't actually done. And so I felt like, and that was my experience when I worked on Night Flirt for years too. And there, like two people would want to share these things that they want to try that they've never done. And I'm like, have done all of the things, but I don't even think about that as I don't even think of myself necessarily as like a super kinky or like, it's just so normalized to me. I'm just like, oh, they're like, oh, well, you think are you kinky? And I'm like, I don't know. What's kinky? Pretty open to things. I don't know.
I share a similar sentiment. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, people just ask me questions and like, are you into this? Are you into that? And I don't know, like it's still kind of like unfazed about things.
Unfazed is a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I don't know. I feel like when people see or hear the term sex worker, they might have this idea or this assumption that like I'm all of these XYZ things. But like honestly, if they saw me behind the scenes, I can be so vanilla, like and boring. Like
but there's something so nice about that too. About the vanilla and boring. Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's me, the version of me that's online and like likes to be I am an exhibitionist, but like really be extra exhibitionisty and just be on and just like fun and playful. And I am fun and playful, but sometimes at the end of the day, I'm just like craving for like something more intimate. Yeah. And that looks like to me like, I don't know, like missionary and just like just like a long bouts of foreplay and just like very traditional.
I think missionary is very underrated.
Me too. I think
it's very underrated where people are like, want to say that that's like means boring. And to me, that's like one of the least boring things, especially if you're with somebody that you're very connected to. Like, there's something so like intimate about that I'm like, why is that held up as the standard of boring? It seems like this is the most underrated sex act there is.
No, I agree. And we could probably thank Cosmopolitan for that, for spewing that out, that missionary is boring. At least that's what I used to read when I was younger. And that's what was said. Right. And
we have to go through, and sometimes with clients who will want to like go through all of the positions, like sometimes I think that they have like they've read some men's health magazine that has like, try all of these. And they're like, want to just move through everything. And I'm like, you can't get off like this. Like,
no. It's just cute. It just reminds me of like high school days where you're like, oh my God, the Kama Sutra, we have to try every position. And like,
and you're like, why don't you slow down and figure out what feels good to you and not just like try to tick all these things off of,
or like cross off your list, right? Like, it's like seems really strange to me, like almost like very juvenile and like green in a way. Like, yes, there's exploration and we like to encourage exploration and doing whatever is comfortable for you. But then there's this weird pressure coming from, I don't know where, society, but like saying that we must conform and do these things to be adventurous in the bedroom. And sometimes like, I don't really want to be adventurous. I just don't.
I feel that. I totally understand that. And I'm not somebody who has like an arsenal of toys or anything. I'm just like, I like touch.
Like a skin to skin contact. Yeah. Like, we're just simple to please, Jessie.
I don't need a lot. Eye contact,
Yeah. And that's a big thing too, honestly. Like with my partner and I, like we like missionary I can't speak for him, but like I like missionary because like locking eyes in with him and just like the thrust and everything is so much more intense and intimate and just like and kissing in general, like
I
for
love
me,
kissing.
like
Yeah.
I love kissing too, but only with people I'm well connected with, like in terms of like personally and intimately connected with. Like there was a whole thing back when I was single, and also like back in my sugar baby days where like I didn't really.
Oh, I forgot you were a sugar baby. I did know that about you, but I forgot. Yeah.
Back in the day, like I just wasn't comfortable with kissing because that to me was like deeply intimate and like I was like sacred.
Yeah, it is.
Very different.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think like sex within the context of like being in love with someone just feels different.
It does feel different for sure. Yeah. It's interesting because like I know that you said and used to like cam like with your partner and stuff too, like performing, and now I'm like flipping the script over to flipping the mic over. But like in like your experience with your partner, like the sex that was like on screen versus sex that was like off screen, were they very different?
They were very different. Yeah. I mean, I think that we like tried to make it feel like authentic and like as romantic as possible, but like it's still a performance, you know, like there's still we're trying to get the right camera angle and we're doing it over and over again, especially in clip making. Like in camming, it's a little, those are two very different things. So like in camming, it was like, we are paying attention to each other, but also looking at the camera and trying to like engage people. So that's already like your attention is so divided and it's not the same like intimate encounter. And we had a different, we had a different relationship to it because like they're an exhibitionist and I'm really not. I was like more just like along for the ride. And, for me, like I didn't get off on like people watching. I was just kind of like, whatever, there's like these people there. But I'm not a performer. And that's why when I found like phone sex and then ultimately when I became an escort, like those worked much better for me than like the more performative stuff. But because I like building relationships, I like talking to people, I like the sort of like intimacy that comes with that. But they were very much more like into the exhibitionism of it. And that was always a bit weird to me because I would notice that they would act different if people were watching than like when it was just the two of us. And so that was always kind of like, who is this? And then, and I would get frustrated. And so there was that like kind of triangulation with the, camming, but with clip production, because also my partner is a photographer, like they were very into the camera angles, all of that stuff. And so while I was into like, I would consider myself to be much more of like a sensualist, you know, like I like the experience and they like the aesthetic. And so we would like be a little bit off in the sense that like I would be like, let's just do the thing, you know, and they would be like, well, I have to make sure that the like lighting is right. And so we'd spend so much time on lighting that by the time we got to it, I was like, I'm over it. Like,
the mood is killed.
So there was always like a little bit of tension there. I mean, I think we created some cool things, but like ultimately it wasn't exactly like it ended up not being exactly what I wanted to do in the industry, but to me that felt like, and part of it was that it was a different, like we were having different experiences of it and kind of on different pages about it. But also I think that I wanted to just have the experiences with them without all of that. And then, but to me that was also, and they would say something very different than me because we're very different people. And they would say that they really liked creating with me and like doing and thinking of it as a creative project. But I think because I'm less into the aesthetics of it, I'm like, well, I just wanted to hang out with you. And now we're talking about lighting.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was really interesting. But then I'm really glad though that I had all of those experiences, even though I ultimately ended up in-person like escorting, which I really love. But I'm glad I had all of those other experiences too, because I know what all of that's like. And then I also like got a sense of the industry before I started meeting people in person. So I felt very like ready when I made the step that I made. But yeah, it was a journey. It was a long time. It's not like I did that for a minute. We did it for years. So, it's been interesting.
No, totally. And it's nice that you've had that experience as well. So you can kind of resonate with us here. Because I totally understand like where you're coming from, especially like with clip making too. Cause like my husband can be like a stunt dick sometimes. Yeah. And then it was like, oh, we didn't get it.
Does he work with you sometimes?
Only when I have some certain customs, because I have like a couple fans that have been with me since the beginning. So they know like, oh, you're married and blah, blah, blah. Is your partner going to be into this? Can like, will you please make this custom for us? And I'm like, okay, sure. And he's okay with it too, as long as his face isn't in it. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a lot of stop, go. Like, for me, I could turn on just like really, really quickly and like get back into the scene. And then of course, like people just need a little time and that's totally fine too. But yeah, it's like, it's, as I mentioned earlier, labor of love.
Yeah.
Sex work in general. So
yeah. And it's so interesting to me having done like the only thing I haven't done is stripping. Like I could not be a stripper, but like, I have so much respect for strippers. But I'm like not a dancer and I am not an exhibitionist and I'm not a night person and I don't like loud places. So like, there's nothing about it that would work.
I hear you. I mean, I think like the only thing that kept me going with stripping was like the exhibitionist part of it and like the dance portion of it. I really loved and being able to like put on a show and connect with the audience. Like I love doing that. I actually really deeply miss it. And like right now we have this whole thing about like, there's some whole fitness studios that are coming into like sex worker spaces, like specifically strip clubs and like having their performances on there. And like not me being in kind of the middle of that, it's been like very challenging.
There's a lot of politics of that too, isn't there?
There's a lot of politics. Yeah. A lot of politics with that too. Cause like it's like I feel like with my studio, like we took the necessary precautions to ensure that, people are going to stay after the show, tip the strippers, buy dances, anything tipped on stage during the student showcase would be going to the strippers, and like entrance fees and ticket prices, that those went to an organization that's here to help advocate for sex workers. But like, it's more just about the education around educating the students in terms of like, okay, like cosplaying as strippers, it's not okay because you're not wearing any weight and you're not carrying any stigma and you're doing this for one night. Right. So it's a lot of that. And also just like students like, oh my God, I took a picture at I'm here at the blah, blah, blah strip club. And like, just being on the wrong pretenses. Like it's been really hard to try to educate the students and just like folks that are just not in the industry.
Yeah, that's a big divide. I felt like that. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like especially during COVID, when like everybody was trying to get into online sex work, even like sex workers who were not like people who were not sex workers at all, but were suddenly like, oh, I'm at home, so maybe I'll do this. I remember very much feeling like when they were like, well, what do I have to do to become a sex worker? I was like, I don't think you want this, like, and I feel very conflicted about that because I do not regret coming into the sex industry. I feel like it's shaped my entire personhood and I've built a career and I've learned so much more than I would have learned if I didn't go into it. And I've had a lot of positive things come out of my involvement in the sex industry. Like you said, that I wouldn't have imagined had I not like done the things I've done. But I've also paid a price for that. And people who don't like live under that stigma and who don't know what that means and who don't accept like, I don't think a lot of people can, I think there's a lot of people who just like can't imagine that and can't do it.
Oh my gosh. Yes, definitely. I feel like there are certain people that are built for this industry. And there's a lot of people that just don't belong in there.
No.
Yeah.
And
They wouldn't survive.
Yeah. And I don't want to be like a gatekeeper, but I'm always like, are you really, if you could do something else, do something else. Like, this is a lot. This will take over your whole life, and in ways that you can't imagine, and I think that, so it must feel like that, because I remember I was doing online when COVID hit, and I was getting like people who gave me a hard time about being in sex work suddenly sliding into my DMs like, how do I become an OnlyFans girl? And I was like, just go away. Like, don't do that. And so I imagine that must feel a little bit like trying to hold that when you're bringing people into the strip club like that too.
Yeah. Like I do. It's like I'm one of the only strippers that are employed on my team at the pole studio that I work at. And I have so many students that come up to me and ask me questions, which is really great. But I always have to have like a real conversation with them to be like, are you sure it's something you want to do? These are some things you should be considering. They do have an amateur night if you want to try it out. But like, this can be a very cutthroat industry to be in. And I just like have to lay it out very transparently for them, because I'm just doing that more so to protect them. With the students that I know, I'm just like, you are so green and like so like cute and naive with things. Like, I just want to like let you know what the reality is, because like I just feel like people don't know what that reality is, and they have that whole like sensationalized, glamorized outlook on what it can or should look like, but really it's not like that at all. So yeah. But people make their own choices, and I think that you and I have both been in this for a long time. There are not a lot of like career sex workers. I mean, there are some, but like it tends to be like transient. People come in and go out. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like they won't last very long. They'll try it out for a little bit and they realize it's hard. Yeah. And then they get out because they can't be more inconsistent and like they can't do all the things. So I think usually it's like maybe 6 months, maybe a year, but more so 6 months. Yeah.
But here we're still kicking.
We're still kicking. I'm still enjoying it. It's still fun for me.
Me too. So. Yeah. I actually can't imagine a different life at this point.
No, me too. Like I actually like where I'm at right now in terms of like the life that I've kind of created for myself with sex work, and it enabled me to be connected with you too, which is really
cool. We've talked like over the years in so many different ways.
Yeah, which is really great. And it's beautiful because like I've met so many great friendships, like created great friendships within this industry that like I can truly be myself with and in, I guess. Like, yeah. Cause like sometimes with like friends, like civvy friends or like people you grow up with, just like a little bit different. I sometimes feel like I still have to censor myself in certain conversations or hold back a little bit, which I don't like to do. But like, sometimes I just know it's not going to get anywhere. Which can be hard.
Yeah. I think that we all need each other.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, yeah. Well, I like to end every episode with 3 questions. So the first one is, what are you reading?
Oh, I am reading Lola Davina's Thriving in Sex Work. It's over there.
Oh, nice.
Yes. I'm reading that right now. I have like a couple of
She's so great. Have you interviewed her before?
Not yet, but I want to read her book first and then reach out to her.
She's so lovely. She's just like, it's like talking to like a very sweet mom who's like, let me help you do things better. And you're like, oh, thank you.
I literally get that feeling when I'm reading her book right now. Yeah, it's so like, can I hold your hand kind of thing? Like that feeling.
That's how she's very calming and very competent and very like, and you're like, oh yeah, well, I'll be okay. Okay.
It'll be okay. Yes. That's on my list to, reach out to her after I'm finished with it. I'm almost done it. So
I think she's working on, so she did the Thriving in Sex Work, and then she also did one for money, a follow-up one on money.
Oh,
and then I think she might be working on one about being in a relationship as a sex worker.
Oh, good. Yeah.
She married a client.
Oh, I will have to definitely talk to her about that because I also married a client as well. Yeah. So
I knew that, but I wasn't going to share that. I was just going to tell you that about Lola because she's out about it.
No, I love that. That's so
she
cool.
married a client who she's still married to. Yeah.
Amazing. So cool. Okay, I'm writing some notes in my mind right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what are you listening to?
What am I listening to? I'm listening to a lot of Twee. So she's a Vietnamese American artist, more like the R&B kind of sounds. Like I love her music. She's amazing. I'm seeing her live. Twee. It's spelled Thui.
Oh, I don't know her.
Oh, if you're into R&B, like old school R&B, it like has that kind of vibe to it, and just really great songs that I personally can dance to. And I'm seeing her live in a couple of weeks, so I'm like really excited.
Oh, that's cool. And then the last question is, what are you excited about?
I'm excited to go to Hawaii in a couple hours.
Oh,
so
yeah. Okay.
looking forward to the sunshine right now and just escaping the rain here because it's cold and miserable outside. So
yeah, we have a lot of snow right now.
I'll take the rain over the snow. So
yeah,
no complaints.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was. Oh, first, before I say that, where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. You can find me online if you're interested in Noodles. You can find me on YouTube. You can just search Sia Slurps. I'm that person on there. If you want to listen to my podcast, you can listen anywhere you get your podcast. It is Stripped by Sia. And you could also find me online. My online handle is Sia on Camera on most platforms. And you can also find my podcast, same thing, Stripped by Sia. Most active on X and trying to get more active on Blue Sky. Honestly, I'm kind of rejecting social media right now, but
it's such a clusterfuck. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Did you hear that yesterday? Well, yesterday, as of when we're recording this, Mark Zuckerberg announced that he's going to cease fact checking for all of Meta.
I did see that. I'm just like, is this real? I thought it was a fake article. I'm just like,
no,
is this
it's not
actually happening? I know. Seriously, I'm just like, oh my gosh, that is just terrible.
I know. I really do think that like social media is not going to be the place that we can be anymore. And I don't know what's going to come next. I don't know, but it feels like it's all like imploding.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And I've been like trying to, get more active in Blue Sky. Like, should I go back in Threads again? Like, honestly, I'm just kind of like rejecting all of it and posting periodically, which isn't doing great. But like, I just don't feel comfortable being anywhere online right now in that capacity. So
yeah, I understand. Okay, well, it was so great to talk to you and connect with you again.
Likewise. Thank you so much for the chat, Jessie.
You too. Thank you for joining us for another episode of When We're Not Hustling. I'm your host, Jessie Sage. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at sapiotextual or visit my website at jessiesage.com. You can follow the show on all socials at Not Hustling Pod and visit our website for more information at nothustling.com. The show is produced by Emily Foster. The music is by Benjamin J. Benamati. Signing off. Have a great week.